morning, everyone. Welcome to Bengkulu once again. Um, Thank you for the time. I am very happy this morning because I can represent Bengkulu Heritage Society in this very great forums. And let me open this by reading a statement from an American studies scholar from United States of America, George Lipsit. He once said that the past helps us to see the unfulfilled hope and aspirations of the past. It will both enable and inhibit the work we do know, yet determine about our prospect in the future. From this statement, we can say that we cannot separate all of those things, the past, present, and future, because what we do in the past will affect the things that we do know, and it also will influence the thing that we are going to do in the future. So today, in this forum, I would like to bring up time reconciliations of Port Marlborough design and functions. I will tell about the history of Bengkulu and the Port Marlborough in brief or at glance, and after that, I will also tell about the future hope from Bengkulu people related to Port Marlborough. Ladies and gentlemen, Bengkulu has a long story. It is one of the provinces in Sumatra Islands, so we share some similarities with our neighboring provinces. For example, we have Kabut Festival here in Bengkulu. West Sumatra, Padang also have the similar festival, Kabut Festival. But for some instance, the Kabut Festival in Sumatra and Bengkulu has their own characteristics. So that makes it different one another. Bengkulu in the past consists of many kingdoms. There are Selebar Kingdom, Sungai Serut Kingdom, Pat Petulai Kingdom, and so on. And after that, in 1685, British East India Company was established in Bengkulu as a paper trading center. And as time goes by, Bengkulu was handed over to the Dutch in exchange with Malacca in Malaysia, and this exchange was under the Anglo-Dutch Treaty of Anglo-Dutch Treaty 1824. That meant British make an exchange with Malacca with the Dutch. Around 19th and 20th century, gold was found in Lebong Regency, so that made it become a gold mining. From all these things, in the past we can say that Bengkulu has a trade, and it is a promising land for foreign nations to stay in Bengkulu or to occupy Bengkulu or to build their business in Bengkulu. The next stage of Bengkulu history is around 1930s. Around this time, Bengkulu became an isolation place for some nationalists who were fighting for Indonesia independence. One of them is our Indonesia founding father, Sukarno, was isolated in Bengkulu at the time. After the independence, Bengkulu is part of South Sumatra province, and in November 18, 1988, Bengkulu officially became the 26th province of Indonesia. That's the brief history of Bengkulu. And now let's move to the Port Marlborough, the things that we are, the reason why we gather here today. Port Marlborough, it is one of British legacy in Bengkulu. Some say that this is the strongest port built by the British in Southeast Asia, and it was built during 1713 until 1719 when Mr. Joseph Collett was in charge in Bengkulu. During the fortifications of Port Marlborough, there is some problem because lack of manpower and lack of the material. Therefore, it takes years. It took years to building Fort Marlborough. The fortification of Fort Marlborough cannot be separated with Fort York because of some problem arises in Fort York at that time. The British request for a new location to the local kingdom, and the new location was given by the local kingdom where the fort stands now, near the Tapak Padri beach. This fort get its name from one of British military commander, John Churchill. He was the first Duke of Marlborough. In general, I can divide the history of Fort Marlborough into three stages. The first one in the colonialization era, and the second one after the independence of Indonesia, and the third one in 1977. In the first stage of its era, Fort Marlborough was used as the government office, was used as the defense fort, and also for the British East India Company office. And after that, after the independence of Indonesia, this fort became the Indonesian Army and Police Headquarters Office. In 1977, this fort was handed over to the from the government to the Ministry of Education and Culture. Since then, this fort became the Cultural Heritage Building. It cannot be denied that Fort Marlborough have experienced many good and bad things in the past. In the past, the fort was burned by the local under the command of son of Jenggalu Prince. He is Lembak tribe, from Lembak tribe. Because of this chaos, the fort was burned, and the residents at Fort Marlborough were evacuated to Madras, India. In 1724, British come back again to Bengkulu after signing some treaty with the local kingdom. And this peaceful time couldn't stay long enough, because in 1973 there were chaos again, and at that time Robert Hamilton died. Two decades after the death of Robert Hamilton, another tragedy. In 1807, Thomas Park was also murdered by the local. For British, all of these tragedies seem considered as a threat, a very dangerous one for the British. But for us here, Bengkulu people, for the local, we see it as the resistance of indigenous people toward the comer for their injustice and proud during that time in Bengkulu. In the past, there is another thing that worth remembering. It is the time where British was under French attack. At that time, Mr. Charter, as the governor of Fort Marlborough, took an insurance to protect the fort from being taken by the foreign army, especially the French. And this contract law case was known as Charter Verbund. And this is the main reason why we are gathering here today in Bengkulu, as Mr. Iskandar said, the land of Rafflesia, to celebrate 250th anniversary of Charter Verbund. Welcome again. Representing Bengkulu Heritage Society, I would like to confess that we find it hard to find the document that record the history of Bengkulu and Fort Marlborough especially. So we do our best as a group that care, that concern about Bengkulu heritage, but yeah, it is hard to find the document. I hope maybe all the participants here today maybe have a document of Bengkulu history or Port Marlborough history. Maybe you are willing to share the document with Bengkulu Heritage Society. Port Marlborough, as in my title, the time consideration of its function and design. The design of Port Marlborough, all of the car in Port Marlborough has its own function. For example, the bastion. The bastion was used to attack the enemies invisibly. And in the past, Port Marlborough had a tower, and this tower was used to observe the surrounding situation. And all of the other part of Port Marlborough also have its own functions. That's the past times of Port Marlborough. Besides the functions of its design, based on its design, Port Marlborough also served as a government office. Economically, it served as British East India Company office, and it is also served religiously and socially, because in the past, Port Marlborough was used for christening and wedding. Now we move to the present times of Port Marlborough. Now, some say that Port Marlborough has a very unique design. And because of its unique design, it became one of the most popular tourist attractions in Bengkulu. And we can say that if you visit Bengkulu, it is incomplete if you do not visit Port Marlborough. So we are very lucky because after this forum, we are going to visit Port Marlborough if I see in the schedule. Besides as the tourism object, ladies and gentlemen, Port Marlborough also served its previous functions. One of the previous functions was a religious function, and now it is still has the religious functions, since Port Marlborough is used regularly for the people around the Port Marlborough to do Idul Fitri and Idul Adha prayer. So it still has its function religiously. That's the brief history of Port Marlborough and Bengkulu in general. But I will not stop in the past and present times, because I think it is also very crucial to discuss about the future of Port Marlborough. And we are Bengkulu Heritage Society feel very lucky because Mr. Iskandar is here, so maybe Mr. Iskandar can hear what is the hope of your people of Bengkulu about Port Marlborough and Bengkulu. Mr. Iskandar and ladies and gentlemen, about the future of Port Marlborough, months ago, I conducted a small independent research by using questionnaire, asking for about 50 people in Bengkulu about their hope related to Port Marlborough. And let me read some of them. And the first one is Miss Risnawati. She is a lecturer. He said that keep and preserve the original design of Port Marlborough as one of the cultural heritage buildings in Bengkulu. That's from Miss Risnawati. And the second one, my respondent was Mr. Krishna Gamawan. He is here. Mr. Krishna Gamawan said that my future hope is that Port Marlborough can be Indonesia and British Education and History Research Center, transforming the functions of this port into education, history research center, modern library, and museum can attract more tourists and researchers to come to Bengkulu. Consequently, the welfare of Bengkulu people will increase. That's a very good and wonderful dream from Bengkulu people to Port Marlborough. Besides these dreams, I also want to propose my own dreams related to Port Marlborough and Bengkulu. In the past, ladies and gentlemen, Bengkulu was recognized nationally and internationally as the agricultural product supplier. So, Mr. Iskandar, why don't we regain this era? Let's regain the golden era of Bengkulu. We have Churuk as the supplier of agricultural product, and why don't we maximize this aspect to regain our golden era? And the other things that I want to propose about my dreams related to Bengkulu, after reading Sir Thomas Stamford Raffles' letter, once he wrote a letter describing the conditions of Bengkulu. From that letter, we can say that Bengkulu in the past was a pleasant, green, beautiful, and friendly city. And I'm sure that the government also have the similar idea or dream to make Bengkulu become a green, beautiful, pleasant, and friendly city. All of these things, I'm pretty sure enough, if we want to do more effort, we can create all of these things related to Port Marlborough as the center, as the reason to make this dream come true. Ladies and gentlemen, I think that also I would like to conclude my presentation. Port Marlborough have changed. It designs, it functions time over time. But the designs doesn't change much because our government have the regulations here to keep and preserve the design of cultural heritage building on its original form. And the grand designs of Port Marlborough picture the acculturations of European and Indonesian culture. For the current governments, the things, the good ones that happened in the past, maybe become the best for you to make some policies to be used by the government to create a better Bengkulu in the future. Lastly, in the age that has reached more than 300 years, Port Marlborough is certainly more than just a historical building for us. This port has become the inscriptions that record the interaction of two or more nations. It is also like a monument with untied sweet and bitter memories among the nations in the past. I think that's all. Thank you.